what is the overall goal for each truck in the junk removal, and how do you keep them busy, like during your winters?
Yeah, winters can be a tough one. We started slowly getting into Christmas lights. We don't know exactly if we're going to go full into it or not, but I think there's definitely opportunity there. Um, for a regular goal for like a junk removal truck and two guys on it, we shoot for like between like the 1,500 to 2,000 range. Sometimes it could be a little more. Usually it's probably right around. We always say around two truckloads, and our truckload's 897, so it's really 1,800 is like a perfect goal for us. But I mean, you can make that up with a truckload, a half load, and two eighths or something like that. So that's where we like to be at. But it gets a little different when you're doing cleanouts and stuff. So it's not like completely easy to say, oh, this truck each do 1,800, or this person has a 10-hour day, but this person has a 6-hour day. But yeah, I'd say goal is right around two truckloads a day per
Nice.
crew.
No Limit Holding says, can you recommend to us and all the new ones entering this business once? Entering this business once. So I guess when you first enter, like, what's a good recommendation? Let's see. He says some after he goes, the money starts coming in. What would you guys recommend? I think they said reinvest is what you guys were saying before. Is whatever you guys are making, you just reinvest right back in.
Yeah, I think it depends on your situation. Like, I mean, if you have living on your own, you have a family, you have kids to provide for and stuff, you need to make an income. So you have to take some of that money back. But we were still living at home, weren't going to college, didn't have any payments on anything, no debt. So we're just kind of working and reinvesting to just keep growing and growing. And I think it was probably the right decision for us. Like Nick said, stacking some money would have been probably a good idea as well. Um, but the position you're in will definitely determine that more than like more of a recommendation type thing. I think.
Those
Yeah.
are NPR dump trucks you guys got.
Yeah,
Yes.
two NPRs and then one's a Chevy box truck.
Okay, now how did you go about getting your first truck? Like, how did you guys get the money? Was that money that you made in the business and you just reinvested to buy the truck? And did you finance or did you buy it outright?
Yeah, we bought that first hook lift. I think it was 14,000. It came with a 10-yard dumpster, like our first actual truck. And we got that by I think we sold like a one of our enclosed trailers, so that was some money, and then we also had money saved up just from like doing the work and keeping it in the bank account and stuff. And knew we were looking to get a truck like somewhat soon to get more of like the junk removal image going on. So we came across that. That was in Maryland, so we drove a couple hours and then we paid cash for that.
Nice. And Sippy Hall says, what's the maintenance cost on those trucks? Yeah, what year was that roll off? Obviously, it's an older model, 14,000. Like, what
Yeah, that
year?
was
Was it
99. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's like the maintenance on those? Is there, because that's where everybody was like kind of scaring me. They're like, oh, don't go and get an older truck, man. It's gonna be in the shop all the time, and then you're never gonna be able to have it for business. So I
Yeah.
went and got the new truck. What's your recommendation on that?
Yeah. I definitely would say if you're able to, going newer is better. I feel like it's more stable to have a payment than it is to have crazy maintenance payments. But we kind of have always gone with like more of a mixture. So like right now, our one truck's like a 2022, I think, the Isuzu. The other one's like a 2009. That thing we put a lot into, so that thing's still pretty good. And then the box truck we just bought cash. That's like a older, cheaper truck. So I feel like having a mixture of both. It's nice to have an extra truck laying around where you don't have a payment on. So when anything does go down, you can pick it up and use it, type of thing. But our biggest problem was we were so young, we just had no credit or anything. So we were basically there was just no option other than to buy a truck cash. So like once we had the first opportunity to finance a truck, that's what we did. That was in 2009, like 5 years ago now. And then we got the 2022 and then the box truck more recently. So I feel like a blend personally is pretty good because I mean if your P&L is just full of, you know, four trucks, $8,000 a month in truck payments and insurance and stuff, that can be tough. But then also keeping it in the shop and everything's tough. But I will say the dumps around us are pretty rough on the trucks. So we've kind of found, regardless if the truck's new or if it's a few years older, no matter what, it's going to have problems. I mean, the radiators get caked up with dirt. You got to just constantly just be cleaning them and everything else. So I think a balance between both, which is what I kind of see. I feel like for other companies I see in the groups, I feel like people end up getting a nice blend of like, your newer finance trucks, but then throw in a couple cheaper trucks on top of that. Just
Got a quick story for the newer truck thing because I feel like everybody always says it's always better to finance the new truck because you won't have problems with it and everything. So our first like brand new truck that we financed a used one first, was the 2022 Isuzu hook lift, and that was like 90,000. And so we started working for 3 or 4 months, and then the motor went on it, not because of something we did. It was simply just a bad motor. So you could still go finance a $90,000 truck, and it could just have a blown motor, and then you got to drop it off, and they're going to pay for it to get fixed, but you're going to lose.
We lost almost 6 months with that truck because it was during COVID, and Isuzu didn't have any motors, so we were paying $1,500 a month on a truck that we couldn't use for 6 months. About it. So that
put a bad taste in our mouths for the new truck thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to tell people that too. If you guys are just starting off, like you're in my position and all, and if you don't got the money to buy the truck outright, I wouldn't recommend it because I could see how it could get nerve-wracking if your phone's not ringing and you're just paying each month a couple $1,000 to have that new truck and all. It's not worth it. I was in a different situation. I'm multiple business owner. I got a lot of extra money laying around, so I just bought it. I didn't want to deal with that. I actually bought it 6 months before I even used it and all. So that was the way I did. But now looking at it and thinking of a new up and coming person, like, don't put yourself in that position. You're going to stress out. Like, it's not a good situation. I think finding an older truck that is like, reasonably priced is a good start just to get you out and moving. And then as you start making money and all, and you got like consistent business, then go for the finance. That's the way I would go about that for sure.
I agree with that.